It's another day, and another time to talk about some strange thing going on within the FNaF community, which I don't know if you're aware by my surroundings, but I'm quite invested in. I'm quite interested in the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise, the games, the movie, the things with the funny bear, rabbit, chicken, and fox. I've always really been a fan ever since I was in middle school, and so when I heard that there was a game called FNaF Plus coming out, which was going to take all the original aspects of the first game and turn it into a genuinely scary experience, I was all in. I was all game. I was hyped as hell. And for this to, for this to fully make sense, I need to dig into the FNaF Fanverse initiative and let you guys know about what that is if you don't already know. It is essentially a fund where Scott is paying to help put together fan games, which, in my opinion, is goddamn genius. Like, having the creator of a game love its community so much that he's helping fund people create fan games for it is not only a genius marketing strategy, but just showing how much of a great creator Scott is, which is something that Nintendo could really learn from. But that's not what I'm here to complain or talk about. I'm here actually to talk about how FNaF Plus has fallen from grace so aggressively that the creator of FNaF Plus is banned from the Steam page, and now Scott's been going and personally requesting to a lot of large creators to take down their videos of playing the game because he just doesn't want it to exist anymore. And I was curious why. This happened a few months back, but the creators deleting their videos is only as of recently, and so I wanted to dig into it, and so here we are. You're going to learn about exactly why FizNom is no longer associated with FNaF Plus. So starting things off, the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's Plus's name was FizNom. He is a game developer as well as just a content creator who is an interesting character within the FNaF community, mainly because he doesn't like the FNaF community that much anymore. He's actually, from what I've heard from word of mouth, come off to be a bit of an asshole, and I'm just throwing this out here. That's from what I've heard. I do not have a formulated opinion on him, so before you run into the hate comments, or if FizNom is watching this right now and he's going to the comments to send a nuclear bomb to my home address, I'm just working off what I've heard. But essentially, what went down was, after Security Breach, the more recent Five Nights at Freddy's game released, FizNom was not a fan of it, and he made it very evident online that he did not like the game. And so later, when FNaF Ruin came out, which is the DLC for Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach, which was like an extension of the game, which I have yet to play because my Security Breach is completely corrupted, and I can't play it because the game sucks. I'll admit, okay, Security Breach is ass, but at the same time, I am happy to get a free roam FNaF game. I'm sorry, I'm going off on a random tangent, but essentially what happened was, after Ruin came out, a lot of the FNaF community was trying to push FizNom to finally try the game again, because like, oh, you hated Security Breach, but try Ruin. Ruin's a major improvement. Give that a bit of a look. And so he went through and he streamed himself playing it, and from what it seemed, the game seemed a lot better than the original game itself. But after that, FizNom sent out a tweet saying it was pretty boring, not gonna lie, or something like that. And of course, I don't know, Mr. or Mrs. or anything in between viewer, if you are fully associated with the FNaF community or know anything about how ill they are. That's not a good way to put it, but they are very, very, very dedicated. And so when he went and said the game was bad, people at first didn't like that. They were not a fan. And so one person actually came out with a repost of his tweet saying that when FNaF Plus comes out, everyone should retweet, or essentially quote his tweet under the release, saying, well, that was boring, essentially. And that is when things took, you know how when a train's on the rails and it's going straight forward? That's when the train went from the rails to fucking Oklahoma. Things went off the rails, because what happened was, FizNom's community is just as dedicated as the FNaF community, if not more, and went into this person's DMs, or not DMs, replies, this now deleted account, and started spamming them with the most gore and aggressive content I've ever seen in my life. Essentially just decimating this person off of the face of the earth. You know how, like, the Death Star, like, wiped that one tower in Rogue One? I don't know, that's like the one Star Wars movie no one has seen, so I don't even know why I'm referencing it, but essentially, he was eviscerated, and that was not the best way to handle that situation for a community. But then again, it's not a content creator's fault if a community goes off the rails completely, because you can't really control hundreds and thousands of people, because they're thousands of people. You can't, that's not possible. But what happened was, FizNom's way of handling it didn't make the situation any better whatsoever, and I'll dig into that right here. So you think, what do you do when a community that you essentially own is out of control, is sending death threats and gore to someone because they made a small joke about a game that you're developing, right? Well, of course, you parody it with this beautiful tweet here saying, that's pretty messed up. Why can't I get death threats? Do other people deserve death threats and I don't? Every real FNaF fan knows that I'm the only one that should be getting death threats. Could I get some death threats now, please? Get with the stupid emoji. I'm done reading. I was gonna start reading it, but the W's in the message. I'm sorry. I'm not a cat. Terrible. What? Huh? Like, what? What kind of actual response is this? Especially not taking it seriously at all when this is someone getting, like a minor getting death threats and gore sent to them is sort of insane to me and kind of a good representation of the bad side of the Five Nights at Freddy's community. He also came out with this wonderful post here. It is a link to a Google document with a sincere and serious apology. That sincere and serious apology is a link to a Rickroll. I will admit that's kind of funny, but at the same time, the seriousness of this situation is, it doesn't warrant that, right? Like, I feel like there's a time and a place where you can be silly, funny, goofball, and when your community just essentially, like, dogpiled someone for making a minor joke about your game, maybe you should say something genuinely serious instead of just joking about it. That I feel like that's not a hot take to make. And around the same time as all of these events happening, all of this massive like amalgamation of hell going on Twitter. So like any day on Twitter. But essentially, while this was all going down, at the same time, FNaF was removed from any association with the FNaF Plus Steam page. He was kicked off the dev team. He wasn't listed under the game anymore, alongside being unfollowed by the FNaF Plus Twitter, because unfollowed on Twitter. Oh god! And essentially just, like, disassociated with anything related to FNaF Plus, which is completely warranted because, like, he handled a situation that was genuinely serious, death threats, gore, any day on Twitter, like a goddamn nematode. He didn't really... He could have at least made a joke after taking it seriously. If you're going to be an edgy content creator, whatever. But, like, there needs to be at least one serious thing within there to be like, hey, maybe don't send someone death threats. I know that's a hot take. I know that's a crazy concept, but people dying is bad. And what sucks is that was essentially the, like, nail on the coffin for FNaF Plus. FNaF Plus was a game that had been in development for a really long time, and a lot of people were genuinely excited for it. There were, like, really cool FNaF Plus, like, ARG-esque videos you could find throughout YouTube that I had actually gone over on stream with my community live quite a few times. And after FNaF was no longer associated with the game and it fully fell on the shoulders of Click Team, the game kind of just dwindled. It kind of just fizzled out like a wet fart. It just completely vanished because I assume the game just was not done enough after FNaF was kicked off the team for Click Team to finish it up and pick up the scraps. And so eventually FNaF Plus was canceled. It was just taken down. And it's really sad to see. It really sucks that a content creator who associates with being edgy, which can be okay in some instances if utilized correctly, couldn't seize his edginess for like 4 seconds to just handle a situation a little better. I know there were other situations before this with FNaF that got the community to not really like him a lot. In fact, it actually became a trend to send emails to Scott Cawthon telling him to stop funding FNaF Plus and get FNaF kicked off the team. But even then, it does suck that this final act that he just couldn't take seriously was essentially the nail in the coffin for a game that everyone was so excited for, including myself. I was so hyped for FNaF Plus. I wanted to play it. I would have streamed it like 18 times, like the other FNaF games. But, you know, it sucks to see. But that's about where the situation lies, I believe. I feel like I've covered everything that's been taken up in this situation so far. And so, of course, I'm not going to sit here and hold you guys over for an extra 3 hours because I have a stream I have to get to, so I got to edit this thing quite fast. But thank you guys for being here. You guys are beautiful. Subscribe if you are new and like the video. I'd really appreciate it. You can catch me on your homepage more often. I think when I said subscribe and like, the buttons glowed. They said they were adding that, and I saw it work in one of my videos, but I don't know if I have to, like, emphasize saying subscribe, and then it does it. Who knows? But thank you guys for being here, of course. Thank you for sitting through another video. If you have any thoughts on this, let me know in the comments below. If you're a FNaF fan, let me know why. I mean, maybe there are some great things about him that I just didn't see. But, yeah, that's about it. For the song of the day, just like FNaF, any advice to take things seriously went in one ear and out the other by Cage the Elephant. Thank you guys. Give that a listen. It's a really great song. I'm going to add it to the Songs of the Day playlist you can find in the description. And I'll be hitting the road. So thank you guys. And as always, adios, arrivederci, goodbye, good night. And take things seriously sometimes. It can be for the greater good of everyone.